So right now your CodeHS is pretty empty, right? You've only done 5.1, 2, 3, and 5. Um, I recommend you to kind of look through them and any one of them that jump out to you or ones that you want to use for your website, like animations, for example, or styling. These two are pretty important for most websites. Just take a look at the videos and the assignments and try to incorporate them in your website. So um, anything here is fair play. Biggest thing is using styling and JavaScript animations. The stuff down here, libraries and storing data, those are a little bit more advanced topics. So we don't expect you guys to do those, or we don't expect you to use every single one of those. Okay, let's. Okay, so I'm going to add a list, right? We need to have a list of the three statements, and we have to have buttons that let you select which one you think is true or false. So I'm going to make a ordered list, list items, and then for now I'm just going to fill them with I'm just going to make them blank. You'll also add some buttons. So buttons are really important because they're the things that you're going to interact with. So let's do let's make the buttons activate the question set. So let's do set one, set two, set three. So what I want is when you click on one of these sets, it's going to put up the questions for you, or the two truths and a lie, and then it's going to let you choose which one you think is the lie. And I'll also have a reset button. Okay, in our script, let's select our list. So your website's not going to be two truths and a lie, right? Because that's what we're doing. So uh, I recommend you guys can choose a different game or choose something else that you're interested in, and make something about that. Also add CSS. Okay, and then I'm gonna style the buttons because they look pretty bad. Let's give it no borders, give it some padding. Okay, I want to give vertical padding, so padding top and the padding bottom. I want those to be like smaller than the padding right and left because I want it to like kind of be a wider button. So if you put in two properties, or two measurements, what it's going to do is it's going to put the first one, 10 pixels, as the padding for the top and bottom. So if we open this in a new tab, then we select this, you'll see the top is 10 pixels and the bottom is 10 pixels. And then the second measurement is going to be for the right and left, the horizontal. So you'll see the right and left are 20 pixels. Um, yeah, these are under shorthand properties, so you can do two values for shorthand, do three. If you do all four, the first is going to be top, second is going to be right, and then third is going to be the bottom, and then the fourth is going to be the left. So keep that in mind. Just make sure to go into W3 Schools for any things that you don't know. It's a wonderful resource. So let's also give it background colors. If we look here, they're first of all they're pretty small. Let's also increase the font size. Background color. There we go. Um, Border radius, it lets you round the corners. It's a little bit too rounded for you. Make it 10 pixels. There. Okay, I don't like this green color. It's kind of blending in with the text, so let me find a color picker and then choose the green that I like. Copy the hex value and then put it in my code. Okay, let's give it some margin because they're all stuck together. It's too much. Okay, and then I want the reset button to be red. So let's give this a background color red. So notice how all the other properties they carry over to the reset button. But since I'm overriding this background color, it's red. So you don't have to copy paste all this button code for your reset button. Let me choose a red color too. There we go. I'll make this color white. Okay. Okay, let's put a HR. So HR is for horizontal, and it basically just adds a line. So I just like how that looks. Now let's give it some actual code. So what I want to happen is whenever you click on one of these buttons, it puts text here, right? So let's do um, let buttons equal document dot get elements by tagging button. And the first button, I want to add an event listener. So whenever you click on it, then it changes the text. Can you take your last website and just add some JavaScript? So a lot of the last websites they were about they were all text-based and like blogs and stuff. I don't really know how you would turn that into like an interactive game or something. But if you figure it out, then feel free to do that. Yeah, your final project should be HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. Just try using everything that you've learned so far. What's a game? So something like this. Um, Basically anything interactive. Don't make it so like it goes on a new page or something. You know how you have like links on your page? Those don't count as interactive. And like hover effects, if you hover over things and then turn it to a color, those that also does not count as interactivity. By interactivity, I just mean use JavaScript to make stuff happen when you click things. Okay, let's make a function called build questions. And I want the list dot children. I want the first child, which is this list element. I want it to say what the first question is. So let's just make a parameter called Q1 for the question and just make that what it says. Let's do the same thing for first one, second one. I think there's only three questions. Yeah, two truths and one lie. Okay, Q2, Q3, and then let's say uh the right answer. So I'm gonna say correct. Okay, let's say for correct, they put in like the first question, right? If I'm programming this and I say fill questions, what's no, that's not a question. I've never broken a bone. That's gonna be our first question. Second one, I'll say equals two equals four, and lie can be 15 countries. Okay. So since the third one's a lie, I'm gonna say three, and I want that to kind of translate to whatever's the right answer. So let's say list dot children dot correct dot style dot background color equals green. So it's gonna make whatever I put as the correct answer, it's gonna make the background green. Just to test it out. So you can see it calls the question, it calls the function. That's because you'll see here, I'm running the function inside of my code. Whenever you're making JavaScript event listeners, you want to make a function and not call it. So what you can do instead is make a function and all it does is just call this. So I'm gonna make this more readable. Okay, yeah. So what this is doing is it's saying on the click of the button, I want to make a function, and the entire purpose of the function is to call this other function called fill questions. So now it's not going to do anything unless I click this first button, and it's going to fill everything up. And then for some reason, you can see there's no color, and it tells you that cannot read properties of undefined. The reason it's giving me that error is because correct, I'm saying it's three, but there is no fourth element. So I have to do correct -1 because it's an index. So now you can see if I click set one, it highlights this one. Okay, now what I want to do is I want it to say this is the right question only when I choose an answer, right? I don't want it to already tell me what the lie is. So what you can do instead is say list dot children. Let's make a for loop instead. I less than 3, I plus plus. So if the index is not equal to the correct index, then I want to say list dot children dot on click equals, and then I'm going to run a function called incorrect. So if the index is correct, um, so if the index is not correct, it's going to run a function called incorrect. But if the index is correct, then I'm going to run the function called correct. And then we can write these functions down here. I'm going to share this code to you guys right now, just because. Okay, there. So if it's incorrect, then I'm going to just make the background of the document red. And if it's correct, I'm going to I'm just going to make it green. Let's try this out. If I click set one, I forgot to remove this line, but it's going to give each of these an on-click attribute. And if I click on this one, um, wait, I forgot to give this an index. There. If I click on, so let me try again. Whoops. Let me open the console. Let's try adding event listeners instead, just because it's easier. See if this fixes it. Okay, yeah. Let me also just set confidant on. Good. Okay, so now you'll see if I click set one, the two incorrect ones, they get an event listener of incorrect. So whenever you click on them, it's going to make the background red. And the correct one, I'm gonna give it an event listener so that when I click it, I'm gonna run the function correct. Now you'll see, but this one turns red. Um, Something's still wrong. Okay. Parameter two is not type object. This correct function? Oh, that is weird. Oh, it's because I made the parameter the same thing as the function. So let's just say correct display. Okay. So you click set one. If you click this one, it turns green. Everything else turns red. Let's make this bigger because it looks terrible right now. Okay. So we click set one. It gives you these three questions. I'm gonna make it so it doesn't highlight the right one. That's not good. There. But why is it not going to refresh? Nope. I removed refresh. I forgot to save. I think I pressed save. Okay. So set one gives you these three. It gives you event listeners for each one, and then you click the right one. Um it changes the color of the screen. I'm also gonna. So people asked if you can just alert the screen instead of like changing the text or the HTML. Um, Using prompts and using alerts is kind of like it's not really practical because most websites don't do that. It just looks bad too. So instead, I recommend just making an H1 and putting your alerts and prompts inside of that. So I'll just make an H1, call it uh, text warning or something. I'll just text is fine. And then there. So instead of using prompts to show stuff at the screen or using alerts, um, instead put everything inside of this text. So when it's incorrect, say um, text.innerHTML equals incorrect. And then when it's correct, say correct. So now you click the right answer, it says it. Okay, wait. Wrong answer says incorrect. The right one it says correct. Okay, now you can also see the code for each of these buttons is kind of small, and that's because we put everything inside of functions. So make sure to use functions when you're making stuff that has like repeated code. Let's just say this is the line, and then let's make the first question the lie. So now you can see, you click set one, it gives you these three, it tells you which one's correct. Click set two, then it does the same thing. So basically, it makes the third question correct. Why is the third one still correct? It should be the second one. Oh yeah, the first one's correct. The second and third are wrong. And if we do set one, the third one is correct, and the second and first are wrong. So this is working. Now I'm gonna make the reset button work because right now everything is green, and I don't like how that looks. So let's make it so whenever you click the reset button, it runs a nameless function that sets the um, background color to white, and it resets whatever's inside of the text. So let's say text.innerHTML equals blank. And then also the three list items are still going to have stuff inside them. So let's reset those two. Let's say there's a for loop and it sets list dot children of I dot inner HTML. So it sets every single list element inside of the UL to be blank. So now let's say set one. You choose the right answer, you can click reset. You can't click reset. Wait, this is so wrong. Okay, there. So it chooses the reset. It adds an event listener so that whenever you click it, then it resets the entire page. So click set one, you click the wrong answer. You can, why is there so many bugs? Why it's not defined? Oh yeah, this has to go in strings. Okay, set one. Choose the wrong answer. You can click. Oh my gosh, save. Okay, yeah. So choose the wrong answer. You click reset. It resets the entire game, and then you can click set two. Reset it if it's wrong. There we go. and then I can fill out these other sets too. Now, once you're at the point where everything works, just try making everything look good too. So let's use some of our Webdev 1 skills, like for example, the cover pseudo class. Let's make the background color a dark gray. And let's make the cursor pointer. So what this does is whenever you hover over it, instead of being this diamond-shaped cursor, it makes it into a pointer, but it's not doing that. Okay, yeah, you can see it turns into a pointer. So that's how you can let people know that it's interactive. Let's do the same thing with the list items because right now they just look like text. Um, so let's make a list item on hover. Let's make the cursor a pointer, and let's make the background color like yellow or something. So now whenever you hover over any of the list items, no, we just save the color again. There. Now it makes them all yellow. Okay. Um, so yeah, today there's no homework. Um, and the reason we stopped doing game kits, that's because we can't find the game kits, honestly. I should ask about that. Okay. That's all for class. Just work on your final project, and we have tomorrow. Um, I think we still have tomorrow to work on it.